Today on Judge Faith, these former friends fight it out in court.
They took her to jail, and they took my vehicle and they impounded it for drug paraphernalia.
Everything that happens to you won't be right, it won't be fair, but you learn from it. That's what you do.
And later, her castle was not her home.
She promised that she would leave the house in nicer condition than she found it.
And it was. I didn't think I was moving into her castle when I rented the house.
I don't even think Martha Stewart could have lived in your home and moved out and you would have been satisfied with how she left it.
Faith Jenkins. Her distinguished legal career began when she graduated first in her law school class. She quickly became a tough New York City prosecutor and then a preeminent legal analyst on cable news. And now she's the judge in her own courtroom. Her cases are real and her rulings are final. She is Judge Faith. Plaintiff Jasper Tyler says his former friend is responsible for his SUV getting towed and crushed. He's suing for the value of the SUV. Defendant Shakira McKnight says the plaintiff's SUV was taken away because he was swerving. She's countersuing for defamation of character.
Remain seated and come to order. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Faith Jenkins presiding. Your Honor, this case is Tyler versus McKnight.
Thank you, Barbara. Okay, Mr. Jasper Tyler, you are suing the defendant Shakira McKnight for $1,300. The value of a car you say was crushed because of the defendant's negligent actions, and you are countersuing Ms. McKnight for $300 for defamation of character?
Yes.
Okay, we'll start with you, Mr. Tyler. How do you know the defendant?
Well, I met Shakira McKnight back in 2006. We were in a poetry club together, and we became acquaintances.
Where are you guys from?
Chicago, Illinois.
What kind of car did you have?
A Dodge Durango, 98 green.
How long did you have it before the night of this incident?
A day.
One day?
One day.
Wow, okay.
I said the same thing.
By the way, do we have a photo of the car? I just want to see it.
Yeah, that was my baby.
Nice looking car. You only had it for one day?
One day.
That's unfortunate. You'll get other cars. That's the good news.
When I had bought my truck, I called everybody because I was excited about my vehicle. And
Was this your first car purchase?
Yes.
So you call your friends, including Miss McKnight, because you're going to celebrate the purchase of your new car.
Yes.
All right, and what happens?
Well, I picked Shakira McKnight up and two other friends of mine, and we all went to go hang out. We had a little drink and marijuana.
I'm sorry?
Look.
So you had some drinks and you smoked some weed together. How many drinks did you have?
I had 2 beers. That's it. Cause they had hard liquor. Like I know I don't want to drive around. I know Chicago. It's hot out there.
No, he didn't.
Hot as in the police are around, or hot as in the weather?
Yes, the police are outside and they're trying to pull us all over.
No, he didn't.
Are you smoking marijuana for medicinal purposes or for other reasons?
Recreational.
Okay, recreational use. So when you leave there, is that when you were stopped by the police?
No.
Okay.
We went to the poetry club and we stayed there for about 4 hours. She's very talented.
Yeah, I sing and, I write, and he, writes as well. And we went to go get a friend who was hosting at an open mic.
Yeah.
And were you drinking there?
No.
All right.
And after that, we was all outside of the vehicle, and I knew at this time I need to stop because my mother's in dialysis, so I have to be back home at a certain time.
Okay.
I'm not going to be out, I got to be home before 11 because I got to get right back up at 2 o'clock a.m.
To help her with dialysis?
Right, to help her to get out the house and everything. She had the grinder in her purse. When we got pulled over by the police.
Hold on a second. You're getting ahead here. So at this point, you said you had 2 beers, you smoked marijuana earlier in the day.
Yes.
We're now getting up to the point where you leave to drop them off home and you're pulled over by the police, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I dropped off
What time of night was this?
It was about 12:30 when I dropped off the first passenger, and I was on my way to drop off the other 2. And when the police had,
okay, so what happens with the police? You're driving in Chicago.
I was driving behind the police. They pulled over.
He was swerving.
No, she's lying.
He was swerving.
I was driving.
Purpose.
I was driving. I was right behind the police. They pulled over. Then they got behind me. They turned on their emergency lights. They tried to pull me over for improper lane usage.
Because you were swerving.
You got a ticket. Right?
Yes, I got
For
2 tickets. No insurance and no, improper lane usage.
Okay, so she said you were swerving and the police pulled you over and you got a ticket for improper lane change.
Yes.
All right. What happens when the police pull you over?
The police pulled me over. She pulled out her camera. She instantly started recording and everything.
You started recording
I'm
who?
up there.
I just started recording the incident overall.
The cops?
Yeah.
Why?
I happened to read an article on, you know, what citizens are allowed to do. And I'm just like, okay, here we are. We're pulled over.
What happened when the police stop you? They give you a ticket, and what happens? How does your car end up getting towed?
They pulled me out the vehicle. They said, oh, the vehicle smelled like marijuana. I knew I didn't have anything inside my vehicle.
But you guys had been smoking earlier that day, correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
But I told everybody, like, yo, whatever we have, I don't want this in my car because I know it's hot outside right now.
And how often do you smoke weed?
I used to smoke
She used to
every
smoke.
day. I used to smoke every day. But
If you smoke weed on a regular basis, it probably wouldn't be uncommon for you to have some type of paraphernalia in your purse.
Coming up, will her mistake cost him in court?
I'm a young black male. I never been to jail. I don't go out here hanging out on the street.
It's a life lesson that you're learning right now. It's a tough one.
And later, which one of these ladies is lying?
There was animal stains, both feces and urine, on my carpets in both of the bedrooms.
This is ridiculous. We are done. We are done.
Plaintiff Jasper Tyler says his former friend is responsible for his SUV getting towed and crushed. He's suing for the value of the SUV. Defendant Shakira McKnight says the plaintiff's SUV was taken away because he was swerving. She's countersuing for defamation of character.
Listen, I understand that people, everyone has a cell phone these days. You're walking around, everyone has a way to record. And we've had a couple of high-profile cases recently where the police have been caught on tape in alleged police misconduct and brutality. So I understand the importance of having recorders available to record things like that. However, you know you have a marijuana grinder in your purse.
And
you should be in the back seat or wherever you're sitting.
Hold on a
second.
I totally agree.
Hoping you can just get out of the situation and go home.
Right. I agree.
You know you have a marijuana grinder in your purse.
I did not know I had the grinder.
And you're
in my
recording,
purse.
which is probably antagonizing the officers a little bit.
No, not at all. You know, as a woman, you know, if you carry a purse that you just throw whatever in the purse. You know, I was in a rush, like I was doing chores.
You said in your complaint they asked you to search the vehicle. You told them go ahead and search the vehicle, right?
There's an audio.
So you gave them permission to do that.
I know. This is my vehicle. I know I didn't have anything in here.
Do you want to check the car off? They didn't even ask.
Like I said,
really believe they were going to let us go.
And so what happens? They search the car, and what do they find?
We're about to search your car, and I said, go ahead. So therefore, I had said, go ahead.
Let me hear the audio. Let me hear the audio.
I just bought the car.
Okay, do you have a driver's license?
Yes, I have my driver's license.
What do you smell, sir?
Cannabis.
Okay, I thought that was right.
You got that green coming somewhere out your car, man.
Do you want to check
smell
the
it
car,
as you
sir?
walk up to the vehicle,
Sure.
man. But
Check
anyhow,
the car.
I know I can.
He said he know he can.
So they search the car, and what happens?
They didn't find anything inside of my car. I have the police report right here stating.
What did they find, sir?
They found a grinder inside of her purse.
Where was her purse?
Her purse was inside of my vehicle.
Okay.
They took her to jail. They let me go, and they let the other passenger go. And they took my vehicle and they impounded it for drug paraphernalia.
They took your car as a result of her having a marijuana grinder?
Yes. I'm a young black male. I never been to jail. I don't go out here hanging out on the street. You know what I'm saying? I do things the right way. That's why I was able to get this with my own money.
How does your car end up getting crushed?
I told Shakira that we had a date to get this money in. They said $600, but every day you wait, it's $35 each day.
And you didn't have the money to get it out
I didn't have
time.
the money.
So they crushed the car?
They crushed the car, and I told Shakira, let's go, I was trying to work with her.
Listen, I really sympathize with you because I don't think that your car should have been towed. I certainly don't think that it should have been crushed. But you have to understand, the Chicago police officers made that decision to tow the car. That's really not her fault. Yes, she had a grinder, and that was the reason behind it, but that was the decision that they made. And I'm not going to hold her responsible for the value of your car because you were the reason why you were stopped initially by the police because of the unsafe, because you got over into another lane. I don't know what you were doing. She's not responsible for the value of your car, okay? She's not responsible.
Don't clap your hands.
If you want to, I mean, this may be an issue. This may be an issue you may want to take. I mean, I think you should have taken it up at the tow hearing. I'm not sure what happened there.
I did that. I went to the tow hearing more than one time.
But she's not the one that's responsible for that. Okay, the officers made the decision. They didn't have to tow your car. It's not that they came up and they said, she has a marijuana grinder. I have no other choice, sir, but to tow your car, take it in, and put it in the impound.
That's exactly
and
what
second,
they said.
Hold on a second. The fees were accrued because you didn't have the money to get it out.
Exactly. And
So
I got
if
it
you
down
had
to
the money to
$600.
go and get it out right away, your car would not have been crushed. So you're literally pinning everything that happened as a result of that one time where you gave them permission to search the car, by the way. They asked you, and you said, go ahead and search the car. If you had just let it all go and not told them to search the car, they wouldn't have found the marijuana grinder in the first place. And let me just say, I'm not saying it's okay, because I think you guys are young and you seem like you have a lot going on in your lives. This is just a car. You will get other cars. How old are you?
I'm 26.
You're 26 years old. This is your first car. You're going to get other cars. There will be. It's a life lesson that you're learning right now. It's a tough one. We all go through life lessons. We have things we have to learn. You have to learn from this experience. Everything that happens to you won't be right. It won't be fair, but you learn from it. That's what you do.
My heart
Understand?
was crushed when she
And
took
so,
my car.
what's your counterclaim for defamation of character? What's your counterclaim?
For defamation of character, like we stated before, we all kind of hang out in the same group, and this particular female that he told the situation to connects to like producers and A&Rs and things like that. And I don't know who else he told, what happened,
So all he did was tell what happened, that you had a marijuana grinder in your purse.
No,
and
he was just like, Kyra doesn't care about other people's...
Okay, your counterclaim is dismissed. That's not defamation of character. Okay. My judgment in this case is for the defendant.
Plaintiff Margaret Perry says her former tenant destroyed her dream house. She is suing for damages to her home. Defendant Pauline Long says she left the home with normal wear and tear. And the plaintiff lives in a fantasy land when it comes to her home. She is countersuing for her security deposit.
Okay, Miss Margaret Perry, you are suing the defendant, Pauline Long, for $4,809 for damages to your house you say she caused when she leased your property?
That's correct.
And Ms. Long, you are countersuing for $5,400 treble damages for the security deposit you say the plaintiff did not return to you in a timely manner?
Correct.
Okay, we'll start with you, Ms. Perry.
I was newly separated from my husband, and I just didn't feel comfortable being as close to his work and to our old home as I had been, and so I chose to move.
Okay, and I understand you put a lot of work into this home, correct?
I spent over 10 months, sometimes 15 hours a day, sometimes 6 days a week.
How much money did you say you put into the home?
I have not counted all the receipts, but the ones I counted are over $217,000.
Just renovating it?
Renovation.
Next on Judge Faith.
You have a voicemail message you want me to hear?
You are an absolute wacko, okay? You are absolutely whacked.
Plaintiff Margaret Perry says her former tenant destroyed her dream house. She is suing for damages to her home. Defendant Pauline Long says she left the home with normal wear and tear. She is countersuing for her security deposit.
Ms. Long, how did you come to find out about her property that she was leasing it?
There was an ad in Craigslist, and so I contacted the property manager, and she showed me the house, and I was looking for a nice, serene property up on the hill, and this little house looked perfect. I had only been there probably about 3 weeks, maybe 2 weeks, and I had moving boxes on the porch. There's a very nice big porch in front of the house. The property manager said, well, I'll bring my husband tonight because she wants them removed.
Okay, what happened with that?
And so we moved all the boxes, and I said, this is ridiculous. If this lady is causing this in just the first 3 weeks that I've moved here, I don't think that I want to continue to be here.
And you did not return any of her security deposit, right?
I did not. There was damage to the inside and outside of the house. I have an itemized list as well as receipts from work I have already done and estimates from contractors and from suppliers.
Okay, you've submitted such a large volume of evidence in this case, and we could spend 2 hours going through just the paperwork here. But I want to narrow these issues down. You said there were damages to the inside of the home.
Correct. On several walls in the house, there were gouges as large as 2.5 inches long and 1.5 inches deep in the drywall. There were holes left from molly bolts and larger holes.
Do you know anything about the drywall and gouges being in the drywall? What did you hang on the walls, if
I
anything?
put pictures on the walls, and yes, there was little nail holes in the walls where I'd hang pictures. There was one gouge, it was probably about that big, in the bedroom, where when I was moving the dresser in, it did hit the wall and it did make a little gouge in it.
What's next after the plastered holes?
Okay, all walls had holes or damage to them. There was custom trim throughout the house and doors that I had specially made and stained. There were solid doors put inside that house. Every single door had dog scratches on them. I had over 200 pictures that I took
I've
of the
seen all
damage.
your photos.
Your Honor, I didn't think I was moving into Hearst Castle when I rented the house. I thought it was just a rental.
She was moving into a house that had no damage. There was not one hole in any wall. There was not one scratch on any door.
If I would have known that she was going to be obsessed with her house and delusional with everything that she is talking about today, I would have never rented it in the first place.
There was not one scratch on any one of my wooden windowsills.
Your Honor, she's charging me for refinishing the porch that already had scratches on. There were scratches on the porch when I moved in.
I understand you have a voicemail message you want me to hear?
It's about her receiving the packet that explains the damages that were done to the house. I need to say one more thing. There was animal stains, both feces and urine, on my carpets in both of the bedrooms, and there was seminal fluids from a dog on 3 different walls in my house.
Fluids?
Yes.
How does a dog put seminal fluids
May I hear
on
the
a wall?
voicemail, please?
I just received your letter, and oh my God, you are an absolute wacko, okay? You are absolutely whacked. You want me to pay you $4,000? You don't know who you have started a war with.
Her tenants moved in within a week after I moved out. Now, if the carpet was in that bad of condition, how could she move new tenants in?
Did the tenants move in a week later?
The tenants moved in on the 18th of June.
And when did she move out?
She moved out
11th.
She moved
on the 11th
out
of
on the
June.
11th, but did not return the keys until the 12th.
Okay, but you were able to move tenants in 6-7 days later after she moved out?
I worked 2 days, 19.5 hours in those 2 days, and a third day, 10 hours long, along with my handyman, along with a professional cleaner who cleaned the carpets, who did all the cobwebs that were in every single room.
I'm sorry there were spider webs in your home. I don't know that anyone could ever meet your standards
That's not true,
in
Your
terms of living in your home and taking care of it.
And now, Judge Faith rules.
What's your counterclaim about, ma'am?
I would just be happy to get my $1,800 back, Your Honor.
Okay, I've heard enough. And after reviewing the evidence in this case and listening to your testimony, and when I say evidence, I mean your evidence, Ms. Perry, because you submitted about 3 inches worth of paperwork in this case, and I think it sort of reflects the obsession that you have with this home. And I understand you spent a lot of time and a lot of money, but based on everything that I've heard today in reviewing your evidence, I don't even think Martha Stewart could have lived in your home and moved out and you would have been satisfied with how she left it. And that's the thing, when you become a landlord and other people live in your home, if you have something that's so special to you and so significant to you that there is no one else that can take care of it the way you want it to be taken care of, then don't rent out your property, ma'am. I'm going to order you to return the defendant's security deposit. I'm not ordering her to pay you for any damages to this home because I think that your standards are so unreasonable and absolutely unattainable for anyone to live in your home and maintain it. Case is dismissed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you. Thank you.
Go ahead and wait here.